Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we are looking at some potential hard truths. And that hard truth is your collection worth anything? Now, I have been a collector of anime related things for about 20 years now, and I've gone through a lot of things. I've enjoyed a lot of series, I've fallen out of love with a lot of series, but the one thing is that I see a lot of people thinking in their minds that their collection is going to be worth a ton. Now, I'm not going to say straight away that your collection is absolutely worthless. It is absolutely not worthless. Depending on how good of a quality you are leaving it. So for example, nearly all of my figures aren't in the box. I don't keep the boxes. My collection is basically worthless to other people. To me, this is a collection that I have built over many years, and I enjoy looking at a lot of these figures. I get a lot of joy from just looking at them and say, oh yeah, I remember that scene, I remember that character, I remember that series, I love that series. And to that is the worth for the collection. Monetary, I can probably get rid of nearly all of these and I wouldn't make a fraction of what I paid for them. I don't have the boxes, the missing pieces probably. They've been on display, they're dusty, they've had the air get to them. Yeah, it's one of those sad truths in that as soon as you kind of open these things, you're kind of devaluing them. But I don't want to have that. I don't have the space to just have boxes everywhere, and personally to me, having them in boxes ruins the fun. I like the boxes for a lot of them, but it's kind of, yeah. And this is another thing that people I do see doing is like, oh, well, this is rare, I'll pick it up. But they don't really have any care about the series, they don't care about anything, they're just buying it because of the potential monetary value. Now, I've discussed figures so far, but the other one thing I kind of collect at the moment is manga. Yes, I buy a lot of manga, and you've probably seen a lot of my hauls so far, in that I do buy quite a few. What I don't try and do is buy manga to resell. I have discussed this time and time again, but ultimately, even some of the rarer manga, they're not really worth it. So, I've been collecting, or I have a full collection of Eyeshield 21. This is a series that is near and dear to my heart, and if I sold it, I probably would make back half what I paid for it. First off, I would have the issue of trying to sell the entire thing. It's a 37 volume series. That's going to cost a lot on shipping and handling, and I need to find someone who wants to the entire thing rather than just a few individual volumes. This becomes quite an issue when you kind of realise that people go out and they'll buy volume 1, they'll buy volume 2, they'll buy volume 4, 10, 20, 22, 37 and what have you. They don't need a full set. And for a lot of people, they're just like, well, I'll just buy them whenever I find them. And there's also the fact that a lot of people are just like, well, I don't want to sink 200 quid into a series. And I'm like, well, that's still half what I paid. Even 100 quid's, that's like the equivalent of what 10 volumes is. Your manga is just going to devalue as time goes on. That's potentially because a lot of people don't care about them. Now, I see a lot of people saying, I bought this because it was rare, and I was just like, oh, what do you think of the series? Like, I don't really like it. And I was like, why do you have it? It's rare, it's worth some money. I was like, well, it's only worth money to people who care about the series. And they're like, yeah, but it's rare, I'll be able to sell it. And I was like, but what if it gets a reprint? What if it goes digital? A lot of people who won't pay 50 quid for a volume when it's digital, and sorry, I don't advocate piracy of manga, but this is why a lot of manga ends up getting pirated. I love Blackjack, but I'm not willing to pay 50, 70, 80, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 quid per volume. I'm not pirating, but I can see why people would do that. and that's money lost for the publishers. I don't believe in piracy, but it's kind of like, yeah, people aren't necessarily going to go out and spend 400 quid on a manga volume because that's the going rate. Unless they have a stupidly, ridiculously attachment to that manga. And yeah, it's one of those things. And this is something that I personally kind of realised with manga. I was buying just manga for the sake of buying it. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, this is rare, I want to read this. And I was just like, reading, I was like, yeah, well, that was alright. And I was like, do I sell it? And I was like, no, it's rare. And then I was just like, I'm never going to read it again. And then I realised that for me, collecting manga is about the memories that I have with the series. I want to look at my collection and say, I enjoyed reading this, I will read it again. And this is more apparent in stuff like Yotsuba and Laid Back Camp, two series that I have been collecting over the last year or so. Yotsuba's one that I bought the entire thing on Comixology, read it and realised I want it physically because I want to be able to look at my shelf and go, I love Yotsuba, it's a really good series, I'm going to read it again. Laid Back Camp is another one that if I feel depressed or if I feel a bit down, I'll pick this one up. Or if I feel like I'm excited to go away on holiday, if I'm going to the Lake District for a weekend, I'll just go, you know what, I'll read Laid Back Camp, I'll read it on the way there, it'll get me in that countryside mood. And yeah, that's kind of why I buy manga. And the thing is that we've seen a lot of time over the years, we've seen it with collectible cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards. Look at how many of your Pokemon cards are worth anything. Probably not many. Remember when we were going to retire on them things? Beanie Babies, Garbage Pail Kids, a lot of video games as well. The thing is though as well, it's like, will we get to a point where these are my memories? Eventually I do want to have kids, I do want to have a family. Is my kids going to really care about Laid Back Camp? Are they going to care about Yotsuba? I might try and get them into it. Am I going to try and get them into Creature Girls? Oh no. No, I won't. I really won't. I don't want to get into Creature Girls. It's bad. But that's the question we need to be asking ourselves. As we get older, are these valuable to us? Are they too valuable to other people? Sure, you're going to get the odd volume where you might be able to sell them for what you paid for, or you might be able to sell them for more. But most people, when they come to sell their manga, they have to sell it for a reason. They might have to sell it because they need their car fixing. They might need to sell it because they're expecting a child. They might have to sell it because they're moving. You might like manga, but if you have to move house and you've got to carry and find boxes for hundreds to thousands of volumes, you are going to quickly not enjoy manga. And then you're going to come to a point that you might need to sell these sooner rather than later. Yes, you might be able to stick a few of them up for their true value, but if you've got 200 manga that needs to be shifted, you're going to want them shifted. You're not going to be sitting there hoping for somebody to latch on and go, oh well, that's 80 quid, oh well, that's worth 80 quid, I'll buy that. Yeah, you might get a few, but the fact of the reality is, these are valuable to you and to people like you. When you come to sell them, if you want to sell them, at the end of the day, you've got to realise you are collecting. You're in the mindscape of collecting things and hoarding these things. I'm sorry, but I'm going to admit it, buying too much of these things, buying too much of all of this is classed as hoarding. If you are going to get rid of them, you're going to have to get rid of them en masse. I'm fully expecting all of my collection to go one day. If I'm ill, if I've got kids, what am I going to do? That's something that you're going to have to think of. What are you going to do? Sure, you might have a significant other who embraces your collection, who embraces your collecting. But what are you going to do if you have kids and you can't have that ecchi manga that you've got? You don't have space to potentially reread all of ReZero, all of Overlord. You can't display these etchy figures, or your child won't understand what Konosuba is. How are you going to explain Konosuba? Daddy, what's these figures? Well, this is a series about horrible people being horrible. This is a useless goddess. This is a pervert who likes to steal underwear. This is a misogynist. This is a little girl who likes to explode things. Okay, Daddy, what's this one about the monsters with the big boobies? So, when we look at things, we're kind of collecting them. And we have to kind of consider what's in it for the future. If you're going to move, you don't want to be shipping 2,000 volumes out. You're going to be trying to get rid of them. At that point, is your manga collection not worthless? I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to say, don't collect manga. I want people to start and think about what they're doing when they're collecting. I need to start and think about what I'm doing with collecting. This stuff might be worth something at the moment. In 20 years' time, no one's going to know about Creature Girls. No one's going to care about Laid Back Camp. No one's going to, well, possibly Yotsuba. iShield 21, it's been about 10 years. Not many people know it compared to before. It's not a massive seller. Death Note, you might get rid of them, but Death Note's probably going to be sticking around for a while. My Hero Academia might be one of the done thing. One Piece is going to be around for a while, but One Piece is available digitally. One Piece is going to have many more volumes. We were actually talking the other day, will One Piece get a collected edition like 20th Century Boys and Dragon Ball and Death Note and stuff like that? Probably will. It's going to be available in shops, so are you going to want to go to your child one day and go, "Hi child, here is 200 volumes of One Piece. Knock yourself out"? No, you're probably going to be like, well, my manga collection is in a special room. I need this room to be a nursery now. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to put it in storage, or I'm going to have to get rid of it. And sadly enough, our manga collections, our figure collections are worth stuff to us because of what we feel. I love Laid Back Camp. Will my kids like Laid Back Camp? Probably not. And sadly, this is the truth we've got to kind of admit at some point. Our collections mean something to us. They're worth something to us. They're not worth anything to anybody else. Sure, you'll get what people wanting to buy some of your stuff, but a lot of that stuff you're going to either have to clear it out. You might even have to chuck a lot of it away. And this is something that we need to be aware of. So when we've got huge collections, it's something you need to think of in the future. And it's something that I want you to kind of start considering. I'm going to do this because I've got stuff I probably won't ever read again. And I'm now at the point where I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of that. Why? Why bother? This is why I'm liking a lot of this digital stuff. Because it's digital. And at the end of the day, it's not keeping up space. If I want to kind of get rid of it, well, it's all on the tablet, it's all in the cloud. It's one good thing about digital manga. I mean, yeah, they can potentially turn around and take it all away from you, but that's the chance you take. This is one of the things people say, well, they'll take it away from us someday, and then you're kind of like, but potentially that might be 20 years' time. I mean, I love Laid Back Camp, but will I be wanting to read it in 20 years' time? Will I be wanting to read it in 5 years' time? Maybe not. Maybe our lives will be so different. Maybe we can't afford to buy all of this stuff. Maybe we can't afford to keep this stuff. Our real life is coming at us like a train with a magnet. Whatever that means. And it's something we all need to wise up. We all need to realise at some point. Our collections are worth stuff to us. Monetarily value, potentially not to anybody else. So when you are buying stuff for the sake of buying it, think, what does this mean to me? Will I read it many times? Do I love this series? Do I need it? Do I need to keep it? If the answers to these is no, potentially rethink that purchase, or potentially look and potentially see what stuff do you need to keep. What manga do you want? What manga do you need? That's it from me. I'm sorry this has been a bit of a kind of a bummer of a video, but it's one of those things I've been kind of thinking about for a long time. I'm getting older. I don't need all of this stuff. I'd like to keep all of this stuff, but 10 years time, probably won't have any of it. It'll be in storage, or chuck it away, or sell it on. Having said that, I said the same thing 10 years ago, so what am I about to say? Oh well, that's it from me. If you did like this, please leave a like, please consider subscribing. If you do have any personal opinions on this, please leave them in the comments. It does help. It's kind of one of those things I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we kind of have to realise it someday or later. I do have plenty of other stuff, including on how to start collecting manga. Yes, you might be a newbie. I'm sorry, but that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and thanks again for staying. Goodbye. Time to sell some stuff.